All right. Hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Niger once again, and welcome back to System Shock Radio. I got some topics for you guys as always. And of course, if this is your first episode of System Shock Radio, welcome. If not, welcome back. But if this is your first episode, we talk about a variety of things, whether it be current events, pro wrestling, video games, movies, stuff like that. And I feel like this episode has a little bit of mix of most of those things, aside from a couple. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is that we've got an update on something new, something brewing, and it's apparently something that's been right under our noses the whole time, but hasn't been quite laid out until just a few days ago. A few days ago, and I saw this on Twitter was the first place I saw this. It turns out the singular movie of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is the horror themed Winnie the Pooh movie based off the Winnie the Pooh IP, which on its own is a crazy sentence. But what if I told you it gets even crazier? Because now it turns out this is part of a bigger interconnected universe, or so. Oh, oh, we have here so what we were gifted. It was a roadmap of sorts, and I'm reading off here, here and this is and this is one of the posts has been going around, but this particular post is courtesy of drama alert. But nevertheless, pretty much, we started off with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey that came out last year, if I'm not mistaken, either last year or a year before last. But then, and next up on the chopping block will be Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, so a second Blood and Honey movie. Then Bambi, The Reckoning. Then Peter Pan, Neverland Nightmare. Then Pinocchio, Unstrung. And finally, last but not least, they're all going to get together in Pooniverse, Monsters Assemble. And that's coming out in 2025. I mean, considering that it's 2024, that means these movies will be out rather quickly. I imagine within the next few probably months or so. But very interesting. They're concocting a entire universe, and it's called, and like I said, it's called the Twisted Childhood Universe. And these definitely were for a number of people at least, like childhood icons. Of course, Winnie the Pooh, Bambi, he Peter Pan, and Pinocchio. Oh, and a lot of people pointed out they're going full MCU here, with it. Very interesting interconnected universe. Where will it go? We will find out, of course. I know a lot of people didn't really like Blood and Honey. A lot of people weren't the biggest fans of that, but it made enough of the box office, so I imagine they decided to turn an entire universe out of it. Either that, or that might have been the plan all along. But I am interested to see. Now, granted, me personally, I'm not really much of a horror person. I've never have been, and I probably never will be, because sometimes junk gets a little scary. I'm not necessarily full on squeamish, but like some stuff is kind of at least for me. But this is interesting that they're concocting this whole universe. So let me know, are you guys excited for the Twisted Childhood universe? You're saying, where do you think it'll go from here? Here, I want to see what kind of ideas they have for like, especially like the Bambi movie or like the Pinocchio movie and everything. But nevertheless, the next thing we're going to talk about is that Jake Paul is going to be encountering his toughest fight yet. Right, so Jake Paul, as a boxer, is undefeated, which hey, like him or not, I do give him his props, even though some people have questioned and his undefeated record, and whether or not he technically should be undefeated, especially after his fight with Floyd Mayweather. But now he fights a real challenge, Iron Mike Tyson. Looks like here is that Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are scheduled to fight at July 20th at the AT&T Stadium. this is interesting. A lot of people are speculating whether or not Jake Paul is going to win this one, whether or not Mike Tyson going to dominate. Mike Tyson, of course, is up there in age, but still training like a madman. And for someone his age, and like some of the workouts and some of the things that he's doing and for training at his age is legitimately insane. So a lot of people are speculating. Some are interested, some are perhaps even a little bit scared to see when to see what's gonna go down when it comes to this fight. But yeah, so this is gonna be an interesting one. And granted, I've never seen a Jake Paul fight. Actually, not come to think, I don't think I've ever seen a Mike Tyson fight either. Well, I do delve into the world of boxing. I don't delve into it as often as I could or even should. But this one's gonna be interesting for sure. But then next up, the next thing we're gonna talk about is that Shrek 2 and all the Spider-Man movies are gonna be re-released in theaters. So of course, with Shrek 2 is the 20th anniversary of Shrek 2, and maybe controversial opinion and maybe unpopular opinion in my personal opinion, as someone who is a fan of the Shrek series, in my opinion, Shrek 2 is the best Shrek movie. Yeah, I couldn't tell you why. I think just something about it, like it being all kinds of fun on them. I'm still having a number of the like dirty jokes and like potty humor and stuff, even cranking it up a little bit from the first movie. Like the first movie had it, but the second movie makes it a bit more obvious. But but tuning that up, the characters are pretty fun. And the main villain, kind of the duo tandem of the fairy godmother and Prince Charming, I think, was pretty cool. Like, Prince Charming, Prince Charming, I think, is an interesting villain. But I feel like he had a bit more depth when it came to Shrek 2. Like Shrek 3, they tried to like paint him more on his own and give him his own spotlight and pedestal, but I think they did a little bit better with it in Shrek 2. But because I definitely will review it for the channel at some point, I definitely will save it for there. But that's being released. But then the Spider-Man movies are being released in theaters as well. In fact, I'm gonna see the exact date. So the thing is, at first it was just all right. So Shrek 2 is going to be re-released on April 12th. Not for Spider-Man movies. The thing is, with Spider-Man, and actually, he also next month. So also in the month of April. So both around April. So okay, hey. But the thing about Spider-Man is, at first the report was just as Spider-Man 2 being released because it is also the 20th anniversary of that. But then news broke that, oh no, it's gonna be all the Spider-Man movies, all 8 of the Spider-Man movies. That being obviously the first 3 Spider-Man movies, the OG Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, then the Amazing Spider-Man movies, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then the Spider-Man MCU movies, that being Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. So, will I go to see them in theaters? Probably not. I do want to. In fact, I mentioned after I finished up the Superman movies that my next series of movies is going to be the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And then I also reviewed the original Spider-Man trilogy last year on the channel for my birth month. So if you haven't already, go check out those reviews. But also the thing is I feel like it's more about the experience, like in theaters, definitely more of like a celebration of it. Like obviously, 20-year anniversary, like a celebration of those movies and everything. But otherwise, other than that, other than the novelty of that, there's no real reason to go check them out. At least not in theaters. Like if you want to go in theaters and you want to support the movies, that's totally fine. I think that's kind of the point. But for me, like I have them on streaming. They're on Disney Plus or on other streaming services. In fact, heck yeah, the Spider-Man trilogy was ported to Disney Plus. So there's ways to check them out on streaming. You don't necessarily have to go to the movie theater, and I don't really go to, and I've talked about this before on the channel. I don't really go to the movie theater because it's definitely more of a novelty thing. Plus, it's really expensive. But if it's more like a novelty thing. You come for the experience, and but otherwise you can have just as good experience, possibly even better on streaming and which is why it's been debated for years the effect the streaming services, or the streaming world in general as a whole has on the movie theater business and everything, especially during like the pandemic where the movie theaters were shut down anyway. But that's really a topic for another time. But yeah, the only times I really go to the movies are if or or if I'm like hanging out with friends or family and we looking for something to do, whether we're already out and about or we have plans like, hey, I want to hang out with my friends today, or I want to hang out with family and friends, or even significant other, take them on date night. Hey, be like, hey, date night, you want to go to the movies? Sure. Or so I'll go for that. Or if it's like a movie I really want to see like right then and there, like I can't wait till it goes to streaming. I don't want to wait till it goes to streaming. I want to see it right there, right then and there in the theaters. And I have done that for some movies within the past couple of years. I did it for No Way Home. I did it for Across the Spider-Verse. I did it for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So, there are plenty of movies like that. But otherwise, these movies I can always stream. Same, of course, with the Shrek movies and everything. But so they are being re-released. So if you want to check them out in their re-release, you definitely can, at least in theaters. So those are coming next month. But the next thing we're going to talk about is that there's a Bray Wyatt documentary coming out. Oh, uh, oh, uh, it's called Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal, and in fact, we have an article right from WWE.com. I'm kind of talking about it, so we're gonna quickly read through that, or at least it's an excerpt of that. So, oh, so we'll read this excerpt from WWE.com. This is their article when it comes to when it comes to the documentary. So, Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal. One second. Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal is narrated by Mark William Calloway, better known as The Undertaker. The documentary looks at the remarkable career of the late Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt, one of the most skillful, tenacious, and creative W superstars of all time. Emotional and insightful interviews are featured throughout the documentary from those who knew him best, including members of his family as well as W superstars Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Becky Lynch, Triple H, and his brother Taylor Rotunda. That's, of course, Bo Dallas. The documentary also includes interviews with Wyndham Rotunda, as well as never before seen footage from the WWE archives. And to go further down to this part of the article, Bray Wyatt is one of the most revered and mysterious characters in WWE history. The story, and this is the description of the documentary. Bray Wyatt is one of the most revered and mysterious characters in WWE history. The story behind that character and the man himself, Wyndham Rotunda, has never been documented until now. Using never-before-seen interviews and exclusive backstage footage, Wyndham Rotunda's inspiring story unfolds. This documentary chronicles Wyndham's incredible rise to worldwide fame as a W superstar, and the struggles and success that came with being a creative visionary. Sadly, in August of 2023, Wyndham passed away at the age of 36. In the wake of his untimely death, Wyndham leaves behind a family still grieving with loss as they celebrate a lasting legacy that continues to create and inspire. So, honestly, that description didn't even do who it justice. It definitely tried to, but it definitely understated Bray Wyatt. In a lot of people's eyes, one of the most creative minds in the business with all the stuff he was able to come up with. And of course, when he passed away, I did kind of a video, sort of tribute video to him, but definitely one of the most creative minds in the business. And so, this documentary, being able to go behind the scenes and everything, and I think is really awesome. And I can tell it's one of those documentaries that's gonna make me ugly cry. like Bray Wyatt is missed by a lot of people, but loved by a lot of people, both as fans and behind the scenes. So a documentary like this, I think, would be very interesting. I don't often check out documentaries. I definitely should because I'm missing out on some good ones. Like I didn't even watch like the Last Ride documentary, also starring the Undertaker. And speaking of which, I think the Undertaker narrating, I think is a really awesome choice. Of course, Bray Wyatt and the Undertaker battled at WrestleMania 31, and of course Undertaker and Bray. I think that was like Bray's last on screen, at least in ring appearance. And he did hit he did the little promo with Bobby Lashley, but otherwise his last in ring appearance was when the Undertaker showed up and took out LA Knight and everything. This is when Bray Wyatt and LA Knight were feuding. So, oh, yeah, it was awesome to see him there and seeing that his family is like involved in this and seeing that all this is happening with his family's blessing, and a lot of this happening because of his family he getting involved and everything is really cool. Especially his brother Bo Dallas, who has been he's been on which I believe he has been under contract for a while. Oh, and even though he's not on TV, being able to pay him so he can help out with his family and everything, and help out with Bray's family as well, I think is a really awesome thing. So, this documentary, I might check this one out. I definitely got to catch back up on documentaries. He's sadly documentaries I'm not always into. I really couldn't tell you why. But this one I might. So I definitely do want to. I definitely might check it out at some point. So it's gonna be premiering on April 1st. So just see the documentary. Yeah, definitely, it's gonna be on Peacock. So definitely check it out. And I definitely might check it out. But the last thing we're gonna talk about is consistency. So, the definition, and believe it or not, there's actually two definitions: one for consistent and one for consistency. And we're gonna kind of explore both of them. So, the first definition is for consistent, and it's as an adjective saying acting or done in the same way over time, especially so as to be fair or accurate. It or and a couple more definitions: unchanging in nature, standard or effect over time, and compatible or in agreement with something. And consistency, its definition is conformity in the and this as a noun, conformity in the application of something, typically that which is necessary for the sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness, or the way in which a substance, typically liquid, holds together, thickness or viscosity. He obviously, that second one I'm not gonna. The other one I'm not going to explore, but taking a look at consistency here based off that definition, and being consistent, being able to consistently go at something. And for my gamers out there, raise your hand if you're a gamer out there. I know I definitely am. But when you play a certain level, at first, certain levels, some levels are easy, but certain levels may be hard. Like you go into a level and you immediately die. Hey, so you gotta try again. And so you try again and you die. Hey, so you try again. You try over and over and over and over and over again. And at the same level, eventually you start to get kind of sick of the level. Like you start to get sick of the level. You start to get sick of the level theme song. You start to get sick of even the character that you're playing as. But keep at it, and eventually you pass the level. You learn more about the level. You even learn more about the game. And that, I think, is the importance of consistency, consistently working at something and not putting it off. If you let's stick with the game analogy, if you leave a game for a while, you don't play it for a while and you pick it back up after a while, sometimes you still memorize the controls because the game is so memorable, but sometimes you kind of forget some of the controls. But when you're consistently playing that game and you're consistently at the game and you're consistently working towards the game, then you learn more about it and you start to master it. And of course, nobody gets it the first time around, but consistently working at something within your life, if you consistently drive at something that you're working on in life, eventually you get better and better and better at it. Even with me making videos here, some of my earlier videos weren't the greatest, but I learned over time. I learned what worked. I learned what didn't work. I learned more about video making and video recording. I learned more about myself even. So I feel like working towards that, consistently working towards that, helped me out with that. it's almost like doing any task. If you consistently do a task, you're going to get better and better at it. You're going to get more and more effective at it. You'll be able to do it in sometimes shorter amounts of time, and because you're already so familiar with the task. So work at what you work at what you're working at, and it may not be as great the first time around as you would like, but if you keep working at it, if you keep getting better at it, if you keep improving it, if you keep receiving feedback from it, whether positive or negative. If the positive feedback means you're doing something right, negative means you might have to change some things, but and which is why it's good to have people in your corner that are able to who give you that feedback, that constructive criticism, so that you're able to improve. So the more you work at it, the more you will improve, and the better you will get at it. Even if you don't get it your first time around, you definitely will get it, but you have to work at it. You can't give up on it. Just because you're not getting it immediately doesn't mean you give up on it. Because if you give up on it, you're never gonna get it. But if you work at it, even if it doesn't turn out the best at first, eventually you will be able to conquer it and master it and do fantastic at it. So keep that in mind and keep working at it, because you can get it. I believe in you, believe in yourself, and you who definitely can do it. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload videos, you can see when it drops. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts on anything I talked about in this episode. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.